For more of me, head on over to Twitch at twitch.tv/Big Geekdom 101, where I provide exclusive streams that you will not see here on YouTube and bonus content for y'all to check out, including old video games, anime, and a heck of a lot more. Twitch.tv/Big Geekdom 101. I'll see you there. What's this? A Dragon Ball Super Manga Chapter 81 review a day early? Okay, so let me fill you in on what's going on. So because of this incredibly busy week with all the Dragon Ball news coming out, I've decided to drop the review a day early because tomorrow, right here on the channel, we're going to be doing a live stream after the manga chapter comes out in the afternoon, discussing the chapter with all of you. So I decided instead of doing the stream in the middle of the week, it would be better if I did the stream on a weekend because most of you guys are going to be at home, you won't be at work or at school, and thus we can have a bigger crowd and have a much bigger and more in-depth discussion on Dragon Ball Super Manga Chapter 81 with all of you tomorrow right here on Geekdom 101. Now, let's discuss my review. This is my official review for Dragon Ball Super Manga Chapter 81, just my thoughts. We continue the Granola arc and the battle with Gas. The powers that Gas has unlocked now seem to be a bit on the supernatural side because he can now control gravity as he's able to use his gravity powers to like freeze Goku and Vegeta early on. Granola seems to be extremely exhausted and has very little chance of actually having an impact on this fight as we witness Gas, with of course Elec being extremely happy about this, just going in there and pulverizing him. Now, these scans are from the Japanese V-Jump magazine, and the translations come from DBS Chronicles. We'll see and discuss tomorrow what Viz has to say about this, but these translations are usually 98-99% accurate, so we're going to go with it because there's very few changes that are actually made from Viz, but it does happen once in a while. Now, what's going on in this chapter, the main focus of this chapter is Goku versus Gas. This time it's Goku doing battle with Gas, but this Gas has his powers unlocked, as we saw in the previous manga chapter. But this chapter is much more of a showcase of what Gas can do with his powers unlocked. Even though we have obviously theories about Frieza, 7-3, and Elec being majorly involved in a big final battle, it does feel like Gas is the final villain of this arc just based on the way that he's being portrayed here. I don't know how Elec could have done something or will do something that's more impressive than what Gas did here. It feels like Gas is the final boss of this arc. I don't know for sure, but it has that feeling. But that's not a bad thing because that made this fight even more epic. But before we get to that, I want to discuss Elec for a moment. I absolutely love the arrogance. I loved the absolute sociopathic tendencies of Elec. He does not care about anybody to the point where he's telling Granola that he should thank him. He should thank him for sparing him, even though he was the guy that killed his mother. Can you imagine the audacity, the gall, the narcissism of somebody to do that? I like that with this character of Elec because unlike other guys like Hit and Jiren who aren't really evil people, Elec is a complete douche. And it's going to be a big, satisfying moment when Granola finally enacts his revenge in the upcoming manga chapters. But here, Granola sold and sold big time because Gas made this dude into a jabroni to where he's damn near dead. But it wasn't Gas that really hit the final blow. It was Elec by shooting him from behind like the scene in Scarface. Right here, we're going to edit in the Scarface clip. Okay, here we go. Continue. Yeah, that's Granola here. And so Elec blasts Granola from behind. Now, I saw some people criticizing this and believing that it's not believable that a character who is as strong as Granola was able to just get taken out by a shot in the back. And I understand that mentality completely. If you're watching this review, I see where you're coming from, but you have to also understand that Granola has just been involved in multiple fights back to back. He fought Goku, he fought Ultra Ego Vegeta, he fought Gas for a while. This dude is exhausted, and even if you're the strongest fighter in the world, that does not mean you have infinite stamina. And because of that, I feel like Toyotaro's explanation is very much like what happened with Goku in Resurrection F when he got blasted by Sorbet's ring, except that the difference is in Resurrection F, Goku was caught off guard, whereas here, not only was Granola caught off guard, but he's also very tired. I really love the shocked look on Goku and Vegeta's faces when they see Granola go down, because like, these dudes just had a war of attrition with each other, right? Goku and Vegeta know how strong and how impressive Granola has been. And for him to go down like that, damn. This manga chapter, man, I'm not going to go into my final thoughts yet because we have more to talk about, but I really liked this chapter. And I've been critical of this arc. You guys know there's been some chapters that I think have been complete stinkers, and there have been some stuff, especially early on, that I have not been a fan of. But one thing I will say is that there are some really good moments, and there are some really good fights, which is going to get to what we're going to talk about here, Goku versus Gas. So Goku powers up to Super Saiyan Blue, but this is Goku breaking Gas's gravity spell and also utilizing Ultra Instinct with his Super Saiyan Blue. I did a video on the channel discussing Ultra Instinct Super Saiyan God, and that applies with Blue as well. Goku can use the mastery of self-movement, Migate no Gokui, while transformed in Super Saiyan Blue to allow his body to move at will and on its own, and to be able to have a better defense and better offense in hand-to-hand combat while still retaining the power of Super Saiyan Blue. That's how this works, and they really go into it here because I love there's a discussion between Goku and Gas about this power, and Gas is almost trying to antagonize Goku, but Goku explains to him that he is angry, but his emotions are just blocking his ability to control the technique and to be able to utilize it properly. And I love that. I've discussed that before. That is what happened with Mirus' sacrifice in the Moro arc. It was a test to see if Goku would be able to control his anger and focus it into tapping into the Ultra Instinct power, and that's what he's able to do. Ultra Instinct is like the opposite of Super Saiyan, whereas the regular transformations are based on rage and anger and, of course, S-cells and tingly backs if you like that stuff. But Ultra Instinct is the opposite. It's about letting go and letting the body do what it needs to do. And I'm a huge fan of UI. I think UI is my favorite thing that Dragon Ball Super has introduced to the lore. So, Gas versus Goku. I loved it. I loved Gas using the spikes trying to get Goku. I love how they're showcasing Gas's telekinetic powers. And even though Dragon Ball characters at this point in the series are far and away beyond planetary level, beyond even universal tier, according to some power scalers, I've always wanted, since I was a kid getting into this show, I've always wanted a fight in Dragon Ball to be like this, where you have a character throwing trains and cars, planes, trains, and automobiles at their opponents. It just comes off freaking awesome, you know, and this was great stuff. This was really good stuff. It's the kind of fight I've always wanted, and I gotta be honest, you know, Gas, as far as his fights go, I'm a huge fan of his fights. I like how he can, you know, manifest weapons that are actually made of some kind of a metal or, you know, actual fibers. I love that he can use telekinesis to control different objects. And I love how in this fight, Gas is having like PTSD over Bardock because Goku looks just like Bardock, and it's almost like Gas is fighting a ghost. It's like Gas is fighting Bardock all over again. And I really like that, yo. Like, this is one of my favorite chapters of this whole arc, dude. Like, there's things going on here, y'all, that I really enjoy. I also really enjoyed how Gas is starting to get to know Goku, because Goku tells him that he hit his head when he was a kid, a baby, and thus he doesn't remember anything about his parents. And Gas is so used to the Saiyans being these barbaric, fight crazy animals, and Goku might be a bit fight crazy, we know that, but Goku's also much more pure, and he's not a guy who is a sadistic character in any way. So I think Gas is a little bit thrown off by Goku, but that could end up being Gas's undoing, because as you know, Goku and the way that his nature is very, very confusing for some characters, and they underestimate Goku, and it looks like Gas might be doing that, and that could end up being a problem. And while this is going on, Monaito is healing Granola in the background. and Gas notices it, and then Goku has to quickly act and teleport them both off the planet to protect Monaito and Granola from getting killed. Now, you can obviously tell what the foreshadowing is here. Toyotaro is building up Granola as being the big hero. Goku, I don't think, is going to be the guy to ultimately beat Gas or Elec. I think it will end up being Granola based on the build-up here. I think once Monaito has finished healing him, Granola will ultimately be the hero of his own story. I think Goku is more so like in the Vegeta role, where he's going to fight the enemy and give a good show, but ultimately something will happen where he doesn't win. I don't know what that is, and that will eventually lead to Granola stepping up and being the hero. At least I hope that's what happens, because if Goku does beat Gas, it's going to leave a bad taste in my mouth, unless Granola is involved in the victory. Granola has to be involved in his ultimate vengeance, and he's got to be the one to finish off Elec, dude. I will be very upset if it doesn't happen that way. But one thing I did like is that Goku teleports Gas off the planet, and they end up going to a planet that Jaco just happens to be at. Now, obviously, I criticized this arc heavily in the one chapter that came out about a year ago, where Granola, that terrible derivative chapter where Granola just happened to have come to Planet Cereal the day they found the missing Dragon Ball 50 years. Y'all know how much I hated that chapter because it was way too convenient and way too contrived. I don't feel that way about this because Jaco is a galactic patrolman, it would make sense that he be patrolling the galaxy. That's what he does. That's his job. And I feel like even though it is a weird coincidence that Jaco just happens to be close enough to Goku so that Goku can sense his power to teleport to him, it's also one of those things where it honestly did not bother me because Jaco, I see this appearance as being more of just a little cameo and not anything too serious. It's played up for gags. Ultimately, what ends up happening is there's more fighting, and then Goku does teleport Gas to yet another planet. And by reading the comment section of my spoiler video, there are several people, and I mean several of you, left comments theorizing that Goku and Gas are now on planet Vampa, and we're going to see a cameo from Broly. While I do think that that could be the case, there's not enough evidence yet for me to say for sure it will be Broly. It feels like if Broly appears now during this fight with Gas, him helping Goku could be a cool little moment, but it does feel like a shoehorned cameo. It does feel like something that wasn't really teased or earned at all in this arc. But I think a lot of fans will be happy with it, but other fans will criticize it for what it is, just a shoehorned, fan-servicey cameo. And that's exactly what it is, and that's exactly what Toyotaro would write, because he's done that before. So I'm mixed on it. I don't think it is Planet Vampa, but it could be. And that's going to be the big cliffhanger for Chapter 81. The battle with Goku and Gas continues. I'm a little bit disappointed that Vegeta gave Goku his power and that we're not going to see Ultra Ego Vegeta fight Gas. I am a bit let down by that, even though I think we haven't seen the last of Vegeta in this arc. I'm hoping that Monaito does heal him and we see Ultra Ego one more time, and we'll definitely see it in the future, but I want to see it more in this arc. However, that aside, I really like this manga chapter. Toyotaro is getting better with his fights. Gas, for me, I don't know about y'all, but for me, Gas is super entertaining to watch because he's different than other villains. He has different techniques. He has a different style of fighting, using telekinesis and using, giant objects and trying to smash you with them. Like, yeah, it does seem kind of silly because of how powerful Goku's become in this part of Super, but it's not for me. I think it's freaking cool. Like, I think it makes the fight feel more epic. So I look forward to seeing you guys on the stream tomorrow, and man, there's a lot of stuff going on in Dragon Ball. 2022 is set to be a big year for Dragon Ball, and I'm very excited to see what's going to bring us. So thank you again. Take care of yourself and each other, and I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow here on Geekdom 101. Goodbye.